Hello, and I thought I'd try a different angle this time. I know I've used I've used this point of view before, but as usual with lots of things going on, I'm waiting for a phone call, so it's like, let's crack out the good old Osmo action to record something for a change. It's not been used for dash cam footage for a whole while, so I need to make sure it feels useful, you know. So it's been a few days since we got the results for my scans and things, and I had recorded this already because we both recorded stuff on the same day. So we sat down and recorded the one for the joint channel, which came out yesterday, and I recorded something for here. But I've since had a lot of updates, and a lot of comments and thoughts and things from people over on the John and Mandy channel, so I thought I'd have a read of them, and then there was a few things I wanted to change from my video. So here we are recording it again. This is the 7th time, don't you know. I get caught between waffling on way too much and finishing off and thinking, oh, I didn't say that, or I didn't say that. So if you have watched everything over there, you'll know that I have been given a stage 2A cervical cancer diagnosis, and from what I heard, I think it's squamous cell carcinoma. So it's good news. It is. I mean, obviously anything starting with a 1 would be better, but I'll take a 2A, and according to my little Macmillan book, a 2A means that there are cells locally to the tumour, so like in the top part of my vaginal wall around my cervix, so there's some cells that are there. I could have done with a bit more information. We were not quite happy with the appointment itself, because we were told, bring your list of questions, we'll sit down, we'll go through everything, we'll tell you what we're going to do treatment wise and all of these things. And what happened is we sat waiting. They were behind. That was fine. We were told at first that they were half an hour or something behind. So as usual, we just sat there, John doing his best to try and cheer me up, and we're just looking at reels on Instagram or TikTok and whatever, and just going, I've seen this, and you know, trying to be quiet and get the nervous energy out of the way, because we were internally shaking like a leaf. So it was a bit of that, but it was like an hour and 15 minutes late, and you have to get there a bit earlier, so I think we've been sat there for about an hour and a half waiting. It's never a problem for stuff. We're very lucky that we don't really have to worry about times and things, so there was no stress for that, but it was a consideration, you know. And then we were taken in by my caseworker, Davina, who is wonderful, and sat down and met the consultant, who Davina goes, this is Dr. I can't remember his name, she said it once, and he was literally lounging in his chair in scrubs and things, and I'm just like, well, you know, okay, this is fine. Don't think I've ever had a doctor do that before. It was very, very unusual. Normally they sit up and they make eye contact when you walk in the room, don't they? But there was none of that. 2 other people in the room I wasn't introduced to at all, and they were sat chatting amongst themselves, showing rashes on the back of each other's hands and talking while all of this appointment was going on, which was very distracting as well, considering that we're up here, you know, we're like ultra tense and everything, so the smallest things did feel big, so we put a lot of it on ourselves, but it still could have been done a little bit better. And then the doctor says, so you've been told you've got cancer, and I'm like, yeah, that's been told, yeah. And he goes, right, okay then, so it's stage 2A, and it's treatable. So I'm like, okay, the 2 out of the 3 bits of information I was there for, brilliant, thank you very much. So I was just like, well, what made it a 2A? And then he was looking back at my caseworker, and then looking back down again, and said the scans and things, and I'm just like, all right, okay then. More people talking in the background, He said, so we need to get you in for a PET scan. So the scans we've done have shown that my chest is clear, apart from they found 2 cysts, one on each boob, that need checking out. They're not worried about them at all, but they want them, because they found them, they've got to have them looked at. But everything else was clear, and my MRI, which was like a pelvic MRI, it's like 7 different parts to it with contrast, has showed nothing else of concern down there, which is great. So there's no tumours on organs or anything like that. However, they want to check with a PET CT, and that's for checking smaller amounts of cancer, like cellular level rather than tumours. So he wanted to do that. But he said it so quickly that we couldn't quite get it. So John goes, but she's already had some scans. And I'm just like, I don't think it's this one. I don't know what the difference is. And he goes, the PET CT does look at your lymph nodes and make sure that there's no cancerous cells that have spread anywhere else. It's like, right, okay, thank you very much. Said that we will be referred to Castle Hill, and that we're going to, it will be the chemo radiation, which at this point my caseworker jumped in and started telling us all about chemo radiation and the length of the thing. And it was pretty much what I'd said last time. And while she's doing that, he picks up his dictaphone and starts dictating a letter. I've got a something score of 0, which I don't know what that means. Before he said that, he was saying, have you got any, do you have any headaches? Have you got any other symptoms? Do you smoke? Are you diabetic? All of these different questions, and then wrote 0 down for this score. And then said it again when he was dictating the letter for going off to the breast clinic. But it was as he was dictating this letter that the word squamous cell carcinoma, I'm fairly certain, was said. But because he weren't directed at me, it was like I couldn't talk over him and say anything, because he was dictating. So for me, in my head, if he's dictating to something, that's not a conversation. I don't get to interrupt. It's rude, isn't it? But he's doing this, and Davina's telling me something here, so I'm just like, what? And then there's the 2 people talking in the background. So it was frustrating. It was very frustrating. I thought I'd get to sit down, meet my consultant, have a bit of a chat with him, have my caseworker there to fill in any little bits, find out the information, just literally of what we've got to do next, ask a few questions about the treatment, and then off we pop. I wasn't wanting miracles or anything like that. But it seems that from all of the updates and things and comments on yesterday's video that the oncologists and consultants aren't known for their bedside manner, which is a shame. I mean, it might be run of the mill for them to do this, and I understand the bit people have been saying, it might be to protect their own heart, that they don't do all of this on a day-to-day basis, because it must be awful giving this bad news on a daily basis, and I do get that. There's a little bit of that in my job, that I do my new job, but I'm not rude, I'm not flippant with what people are saying, with any news that people are getting or anything like that. I'm not like that, and I know I can't put how I am onto other people, but be better, just do it a little bit better. I get that. It's one of those things. It's the first time that I am ever going to be told that I have cancer and what the treatment is. It's the first time that that's ever happened to me, and it's the only time that first time is ever going to happen to me. So, and that's the impression I've got now. This is the memory that I've got for all of this, which is a shame. I know the NHS are unfunded and everything, and I'm not having a go at them. They've been amazing, and the timescales that they're doing compared to what some people are doing is unbelievable. It really is. So it's I do feel very lucky that I was listened to and this was caught and it's been pushed through. So, because I've heard lots of horror stories about it not being quite as straightforward as I found it. So, and that women aren't being listened to when there's changes to the periods and stuff, because that's the thing with this cancer. The bleeding is really the only early sign. Any difference to that, so any spotting, bleeding after sex, any heavier bleeding, longer bleeds, anything like that, just ask the question. All you need at that point is to have an earlier smear. You ask that question, they book you in and you get it done. It's nothing for them to do, but you've got to kind of push, you've got to advocate for yourself a little bit, because so many people are being told, don't worry, just wait till your next smear. But it could be 2 years. Why not get it looked at now? I don't get it. So There is going to be a trial apparently in a few areas about these self-testing kits, so I'm hoping that comes out more, because it's got to be easier for them to send out a self-testing kit than have to go through, get 2 people put to one side, book out the room. There's limited resources for stuff like that, so it's got to be better if they do something like that. So yeah. Anyway, back into the room. So with no questions answered really. Well, the ones we went in for were answered. So I know what stage cancer I've got at the moment. That could change once I've had my PET CT. So that's like an injection of a radioactive sugar, and cancer really likes eating sugar, so any cancerous cells will glow up under the PET CT and show anything else of concern that has to be in my whole body. I'm having a whole body PET CT. So that's been booked in a couple of weeks. So obviously once we've got that, we'll know a little bit more. That's in a couple of weeks, and then I think it's 4 or 5 days later, at the beginning of April, is when I've got to see the consultant oncologist and the nurse that's going to be dealing with my cancer care and my treatment plan. So the CT is the PET CT is with enough time for it all to go through and them to give me some news and updates. So 2nd of April will be when I find out more about whether I am still stage 2A. And of course, as soon as that was said, great news, all the other scans are clear, but this one we've got to check. My brain's kicked back in again, and oh my goodness, I've got pains here, like in my ovaries. What does that mean? It means you're ovulating, Mandy. It's that time. I know this. I know what my body feels like, but I'm worried about it. My back's killing me. Oh, it must be in my back. Well, they've checked your back. That's actually fine. So I've just got to stop that escalating a little bit, because I know what I'm like. I need to get back and get some work done for my new job and for my accounting business, to try and at least get caught up to date with some things. I've got an anti-money laundering inspection to prepare for, and I want to do all of that while I know I've got the right brain space for it. All my customers that I've been in touch have been amazing, absolutely amazing. Hopefully they know me well enough that this isn't going to affect anything. I know there's a 6-week period of time that this is going to take up, and thankfully there's no deadlines in that time at all for anybody, so that's really good timing as far as that's concerned. But as every good accountant does, I've got backup, so there is somebody on the sidelines waiting that will take over anything if I need them to do it. I just have to say the word and obviously get customers' approval and things. So there's all of this going on, as well as worrying about John and everybody else for that matter, because it just is the way it is. So I've signed up for the Macmillan forums, their online forums. So they've got like a handful of different ones for cervical cancer, where you can talk about the actual cancer, just say hi and introduce yourself and have a bit of a chat, and then there's like treatment forums and stuff there. And they've been really handy so far to try and fill in the gaps from people that have had cancer themselves. Everybody will talk and go through things. So one of the things that I was told, because it was like people were talking about weight loss during chemo and things, but apparently if you have radiation, please correct me if I'm wrong or tell me what you found about it, but they say you can't lose any weight. So having chemo, that they say can cause weight loss because of the vomiting and diarrhea, or you just feeling too tired to eat or whatever, that with radiation you can't really lose much weight, because these tattoos that you get on yourself that line up with everything else. I've got tattoos down there myself. I hope they're not going to get in the way. I've got like a bunny, a thumper from Bambi there, and he could end up having a dot in his head or something. I don't know. I'll have to have some fixing done afterwards if it does get in the way. But yeah, so they need to line up. So if I get smaller in any way, then they'll have to readjust and do all of the tests and things again to get it all in the right place to make sure it's targeted, because it's very, very targeted radiation therapy down there. So that's something to think about. Apparently I can get protein shakes on prescription, and free prescriptions, and free parking And it's weird because I kind of get why. If it wasn't me going through it, I'd be like, that is absolutely brilliant. I bet they're paying a fortune in parking, or, you know, but anti-sickness meds and all of this stuff. The price of prescriptions these days is amazing. You get free prescriptions, but on the same thing, I don't know why I should get it. It's the weirdest thing. It is always this kind of thing. Not that I'm not deserving of anything, but we are lucky enough to be in a position where we're not going to struggle for money. For this amount of time. Obviously ongoing, we'll have to see, but at least for this one we're doing okay. Yeah, it's a weird place to be, because I know I'm not going to work for that 6 weeks, so I'll be a kept woman. I'll have John looking after me for that time. Obviously I don't know, actually. I say that now and I have no idea how it's going to do it, but we're planning for me not being able to. Obviously if I can, then that's an absolute bonus. While I was in there and talking to the consultant said, do you mind if we look at your previous smears, like the last 2 or 3? Apparently they're all held on a central database, and he wanted to check back and see, because apparently it's a slow growing cancer, so stage 2A wouldn't have just happened in like a 3-year normal scan cervical smear type thing, that it would have been more. So there would have been an inconclusive smear where you have to go back and have something looked at. So they want to go back and check that I didn't miss anything by going out of the area for my last doctors, but I've still been getting text messages and things from them. And he wants to go and check that, to check the results and things, to see if anything was missed. They've changed the way they do smear tests now. It's all with the HPV thing rather than how they used to do it. So they are far more accurate now than they were even, what did he say, 2020 I think they said it changed. So that's changed for the better for there, but they want to go back and have a look. So I've signed all the forms for that, because I thought that would actually be interesting to see if anything was missed on the other one. And I like the fact that they're actually looking back and learning from all of this to see if there is anything that's gone back. So yeah, so I signed all the permission slips for that, to do it. So now it's just waiting again, really. As we said in the joint video, we've got a Nerf battle coming up on Saturday, where grandson's choice of birthday party, so we're really looking forward to that. It should be good, and a nice little McDonald's treat for afterwards. And yeah, just to try and get a bit of normality in. So we'll do that on the Saturday, hopefully get to the Harrogate show on the Sunday, and then back here again for more bits. We've got some friends coming up. It's weird because when people try to make arrangements with us, we're just like, well, we don't know where we're going to be, and it's like, well, you know what, we actually do need to be here for that week anyway, for other bits of things. And yeah, so it's so that should be nice. It'll be a busy week with visitors, which is going to be amazing. So I can't wait to see the people that that are going to come up and see us. So that should be lovely. So yeah, so all in all, we're looking after each other. John's taking the world on his shoulders, which is what he always does. He definitely is a what's the word? I don't know what the word is. He's definitely the kind of man that likes to protect his flock. That's the thing. And I've got to I keep telling him to save his efforts, as awful as it sounds. It's like, let me cook tea for you today, because there might be lots of times when he needs to cook for me if I'm going to be tired or whatever. We've got some fallback plans of my favourite chicken sandwich, which is literally just a bread, mayo, chicken, salt and pepper, and if I've got it, a massive handful of rocket. You can't go wrong with that one. But I'm perfectly fine. He does me jacket potatoes with cheese and beans, mac and cheese. I mean, obviously there's all the things he likes, like his hot dog and his chicken wraps and stuff, but we'll get him on some other things. We're actually thinking of trying a HelloFresh box, because we've got loads of friends that have got all the discount offers and things for us to try. And just try a little HelloFresh and see if that will help with anything, if there's something that's a little bit healthier. We do need to get better at eating better. So so that's that. And I keep saying that's that. because I don't know what else to say. It's up and down in here. It really is. There's times when I don't want to get out of bed in the morning. There's times when I can't wait to get out of bed, and I have the full of the joys of spring, and then as soon as everything starts going around my head again and it hits me and knocks me off my feet, and I just get spiraling. It's like this little voice inside my head that screams, "You've got cancer." I've got cancer. How is that happening? I don't know. It's very surreal. It was soon to be very real once the treatment and things start, but yeah. So we're just going to do what we can in the time we've got. I think the 2 appointments that we know about already are enough for us to at least have maybe 2 or 3 weeks of being able to actually do things around them, which will be lovely. And then after the second, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see once they've got a gap to get me in for treatment. And they reckon that it's going to be like the end of April. I know this sounds terrible, and it does sound terrible because you want to get the treatment as soon as possible, of course. But if they're talking the end of April, it's like, can you not do it? Can you not do it in the first week of May instead, after the bank holiday? I've got plans, mate. You know, if it is that close to starting, it would be such a shame. I've been so looking forward to do this talk at Camper Van Camp Out. I know if they can't, you know, if it comes up and it's there, I'm going to take the treatment. I'm not going to be doing anything funny, and we've got weekends off. It's just that I don't know how my immune system is going to handle anything like that. 2 weeks in, I have no idea. It's questions to ask the consultant, and I can speak to the guy that runs the Camper Van Camp Out show and work something out, like I say. But it's just a panel, but it's one of those weird things for I've just so been looking forward to it, with me and Tash and Shaz just talking about van life and stuff. And the weekend before that is the self-build at Willow Fields, which would be absolutely brilliant if I could be able to participate in that a little bit. But they're small little things. I think this is the thing that goes round your mind. Oh my goodness, I've got this planned. Well, it's not planned anymore. And I think it's one of the biggest things with things like this is it's not only the massive shock that you actually have to deal with all of this, and obviously it's life-threatening if left untreated, but it's the loss of all the things that you were going to do. You know, we all make plans in the year, and it's all very disappointing if you don't get a chance to do them all. But it is what it is. It's one thing my mind focuses on. I can't help myself. So yeah. But that's your update. I hope I've made it a little bit different to the one on the joint channel, which is, it's very difficult to try and keep them different, but we've got different subscribers, so we do have to put them out on both channels, because we want this to be something that helps people. And from the amount of people that have told me they've been for smears, or their partners have been for smears, or they're telling their daughters and wives and things, that in itself is worth doing this and having a bit of repetition, I think. Don't you? Thank you once again for everybody who has commented and sent me messages on Instagram, Buy Me a Coffee, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp messages, everything. I cannot say how much I appreciate every single message. It's hard getting through them all, and I hate that I haven't got enough time to actually comment and reply to all of them, but I am reading every single message, and I read all the ones on the joint channel too. It is just amazing. Everyone is so generous with their time. A few people have been generous with their money, and it's all greatly appreciated and unexpected. So it is just wonderful. My heart is incredibly full, and I can't ever say that that's a bad thing. So yeah, so take care everyone. I will keep you updated as we're going along, but then there'll also be some happy Mandy stuff in there. You know, I've got to keep cracking on. And yeah, go get checked out. Anything unusual, you know yourself. You know what's right and what's not. Men, women, everything. You know what feels right. And if it don't feel right, go get it checked out. Okay. Well, take care. I love you all so very much. And I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.